My name is Scott Bazylwicz. We're making these venison meatballs today, and we can make enough of them, a couple of batches that we can store in the freezer to save for another day, a rainy day when you need a quick meal when the kids just got home and you just got home and you need a really quick meal. You can throw these on a hoagie bun with a little bit of marinara and some mozzarella cheese and you have a beautiful sandwich, or you can make spaghetti and meatballs. This is a wonderful treat. You get to use some of your venison that you shot last year or this year, and it tastes wonderful and it's great for food for the family. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to make venison meatballs that we can use in spaghetti, or we can serve them as an appetizer, or we can make sandwiches out of them. What we have is it's 1330. Is that the date?
Yes.
So you have a 30% mix of pork in here?
40.
40% mix of pork, 60% venison. We have 1 pound here. What I like to do is I always put a little onion in my meatballs. I want to make sure that it's cooked. So I'm just going to do a real fine dice. We'll drop some oil in the pan. Saute that up, and in the meantime we'll start adding some seasoning, an egg, the egg is what's going to hold all of our meat together as it cooks. We'll set the oven to 350. Alright, we have the egg in there and the meat. We're going to add some breadcrumbs. Why don't we add a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs? See how our onions are starting to brown nice? Takes a long time at all. Turn that off. In the meantime, we're going to add some oregano, some basil, some granulated garlic. Salt and pepper. Shake of pepper. About a teaspoon of salt. A teaspoon of garlic. I'm going to go with a teaspoon of oregano. Teaspoon of basil, okay, our onions are sauteed nicely, we'll add those. We're going to add just a touch of water, about a 1/4 of a cup. What the water is going to do is that's going to make our meatballs nice and moist. Looks like we can add a little more breadcrumbs to it. Let's put another 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs in. our meat looks a little bit wet, and I don't see any breadcrumbs in the meat. I like to be able to see just a little bit. I'm using Panko breadcrumbs. They're white Japanese breadcrumbs. Use any kind that you have. I just prefer these. See, that's better. It's going to hold together nice. Spray the pan with a little bit of cooking spray. So our water's starting to get hot. Alright, now I have a scoop. What we're going to do is we're just going to scoop the meatballs out. That way they're all the same size so they cook the same time and they look nice. After I scoop some, then I'll roll them in my hands to get them nice and round. See how I keep them nice and round and then I set them in the pan. These are the perfect size. They're good for spaghetti or good for an appetizer. They're kind of an in-between size. You get a little bit of shrinkage when they cook. You make meatball sandwiches out of them. They're good for a lot of things. You have them as an appetizer. Yeah, when we're all done cooking them, we can freeze them up. You can pop them out for a quick lunch. Or a quick dinner when your company pops in. Your sauce can be a bunch of different things. You can use marinara or barbecue, or you can make a little Swedish meatball gravy. Looks like we're going to have about 2 dozen meatballs out of it. Or I shouldn't say 2 dozen, a dozen meatballs out of that pot. That in no time, huh? Put them in the oven for about 20 minutes. I'm going to put about a cup and a half of water in the pan, just so that they don't stick when they cook. See how I have the water in there? It's just so that they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. Keeps them nice and moist. Set a timer so we don't forget about them. 20 minutes. 350 I have the oven set at. We'll give them 20 minutes and we'll check them. These cooked for 25. Our meatballs were in the oven for 25 minutes. I drained a little bit of the water off. And now we're just going to put them on a plate. Let them cool, and then we can put them in a freezer bag for another day. Or we can toss them in our marinara and warm them back up. Or we can put barbecue sauce on them. Or we can make a Swedish meatball gravy, which is just really brown gravy with a little sour cream in it. It's really not that difficult to make. And if you prep these up, you'll be ready to go for a party at a drop of a hat. If you have company that pops over and you don't know what to feed them, you can always grab a box of spaghetti out of the cabinet and these out of the freezer, and you're all set with fresh meatballs that you made. And everyone will be impressed and happy.